This is Books for Breakfast, a podcast where we talk about books and writing. I'm Enda Wiley.
And I'm Peter Sirr.
And you're all very welcome to this morning's show.
Well, hello everybody. Summer is here and we recently had great fun. We went down to Trinity College to speak to writer fellow James Harpur. We had a wonderful wander around Trinity, didn't we, Peter?
Oh, it was great fun. Just kind of nice to kind of wander in, meet him, see where he lived. Because as you say, he's the writer fellow. So he spent about, 6 or 9 months living in Trinity and writing in Trinity as well.
Yeah, so we'll be talking to him later and it was really enjoyable. I think James got a bit of a shock because when he met us at front entrance, we were there with, microphone and equipment. But I think he managed it quite well, didn't he, Peter?
He did, yeah. That was one of the nice things, just to get out and about, because very often we record these programs from at home. They're often remotely with people, talking to people through their computers. But this was an in-person interview, so that was kind of fun.
Yeah, it was great to do in person. I really enjoyed that. Well, listen, we'll be listening to James Harpur later. But summer is upon us, as I said, and I thought it would be nice if we treated you all to some summer poems. So, Peter, I see there you have a poem by Derek Walcott on the breakfast table. Would you like to read that and tell us a bit about it? Why do you like it?
It's a very short poem called Midsummer Tobago is it Tobago or Tobago? I never know how to pronounce it.
Tobago.
Okay, so it's just a very summery poem and it's very sort of simple and I just like it. So here it is, Midsummer Tobago by Derek Walcott. Broad, sun-stoned beaches, white heat, a green river, a bridge, scorched yellow palms from the summer sleeping house, drowsing through August. Days I have held, days I have lost, days that outgrow like daughters my harbouring arms.
Oh, that's really beautiful. I love drowsing through August. And actually, that poem reminds me of a poem by Raymond Carver called The Best Time of the Day. Just hearing you there reading Derek Walcott's wonderful poem, Midsummer Tobago. You know those kind of hot summer nights when you have to keep the window open? I think we've had a few of them here in Ireland, haven't we, recently?
We've had a few, but alas, the sun has deserted us. I'm just hoping it's going to come back. And very annoyingly, it's been shining all over the rest of the country, which I think is just solar discrimination. But I'm going to hope it comes back here.
Yeah, but anyway, those kind of, I hope it does come back. But, when the windows are open and you're feeling very hot, and I really like the beginning piece of this poem by Raymond Carver. As you know, he's one of my favourite writers, but this is a summer poem with the windows open. And as I said, it's called The Best Time of the Day. Cool summer nights, windows open, lamps burning, fruit in the bowl, and your head on my shoulder, these the happiest moments in the day. Next to the early morning hours, of course, and the time just before lunch, and the afternoon and early evening hours. But I do love these summer nights, even more, I think, than those other times, the work finished for the day, and no one who can reach us now or ever.
Yeah, I like that too. I like that these summer nights. And I love this thing of no one can reach us now.
Yeah, it's kind of fun because Peter and I decided we'd just go off and find our favourite summer poems. So I don't think you expected that poem from Raymond Carver, did you?
I hadn't a clue. I didn't know much about that.
So we had Derek Walcott with that beautiful image about the daughters. Will you read that line again, actually, Peter? I loved it.
Yeah, days I have held, days I have lost, days that outgrow like daughters my harbouring arms.
Yeah, it's very unexpected. I love the way poems can do that, bring you on a journey like that, an unexpected journey. And equally, I think in the Carver poem, I love the way it's very short. They're very short sentences. In fact, the opening sentences of his poem, The Best Time of the Day, has only got two words per line.
Maybe, I know, yeah, maybe it's, the older I get, the more I like sort of basic stripped down kind of, yeah, not that I can ever manage it myself, but I do like, I like that kind of essentialist kind of simplicity.
Bareness, but at the same time, it is punctuated by beautiful images like the daughter there, or even the window open in Carver. I'm there with him. Well, you've a poem, Peter, that you want to read about summertime that you wrote.
Yeah, it's shameless self-promotion time, and I thought we might each read a poem. And who goes first?
I think you can start off. I think you've been obsessed with bells recently, haven't you?
I'm actually going to give you a blast of bells. No, it's just kind of, again, one of these kind of obsessions. But we live near St. Audien's Church, very old church in the centre of Dublin. And for the first time recently, the bells of St. Odien's, all 7 of them, were rung by the church's own bell ringers. And it was the first time that had happened for 100 years. They had to get in bell ringers from other places before that. So I heard about this, and I decided I better go up there and listen to the bells. So I went up there and I stood under a tree outside the front door of the church. And as I was waiting for the bells, I was thinking, oh, these amazing kind of bird noise. And so then when the bells started to ring, I got the bells and the birds at the same time. So it's a kind of little piece called The Bells and Birds of St. Odien's. That's the bell sounds you'll hear. And then after I heard the bells ringing, I went into the little museum that is beside it, which is again, recommend anyone to go there. But I was standing there and I was looking at this gravestone that's there, and it's really strange. It's a gravestone for a man, a tailor, Michael George Dowd, and you see there his life, born, died, and all that kind of stuff. But then there's also these blanks, because it says also for his loving wife, and then it says, she departed this life the blank of blank in Anno Domini blank, and I thought, what? So then her name was Ismay, and I thought, God,
yeah, the man gets the dates, but the woman gets nothing.
So the woman gets nothing, and I thought, Jesus, what happened? What happened to her? And so I inevitably I went home and I wrote a poem about it, and it's called Ismay, and it starts off with the words that are on the stone. Ismay. Hereunder lieth the corpse of George Dowd of Dublin, tailor, who deceased the 22nd of February in Anno Domini 1636, and his loving wife, Ismay Bagot, departed this life the blank of blank in Anno Domini blank, upon whose souls the Lord have mercy. Amen. St. Odien's Church, Dublin. Purchased in advance, a stonemason's bargain, date and time covered already by this commission. But what happened then? Maybe Ismay refused the gift and kept her death to herself. Maybe George, the solitary tailor, made her up, or for some dark reason no one would touch the stone. Random facts light up the screen. 1636, year of the proclamation regulating the production of linen. Edward Bryce, Henry Calvert, James Hamilton, John Ridge, and one other non-subscribing Presbyterian minister are sentenced to silence by the Bishop of Down and Connor. Melissa O'Rahilly, the Harpur, is born. The annals of the Four Masters are finally done, and James Shirley writes Phoenix on the Constant Maid, produced in the Werber Street Theatre just over the road. The bells, all 7, I came here to record, are pealing as I leave, but of Ismay the loving, there's still no word. There it is, yeah. So it's just the mysterious Ismay Bagot, and what a great name as well.
Ismay Bagot.
Ismay Bagot was her name, yeah.
No connection to Bagot Street.
No, not that I know of.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Not that I know. That's the whole thing. We don't know anything about her.
It's very interesting as well that she can live a life back then. What year again was it, Peter?
1636.
So 1636, and now in 2023, a curious poet wanders up and sees her name and writes a poem. So you kind of live on through poetry. You can anyway. So it's very interesting, isn't it, that idea?
Yeah, it's all very mysterious. You kind of wondered, did a plague sweep her away, or did something happen, or did she just run off, or what? It's just, yeah. Anyway, it's
the bells the graveyard is May. That's how poems get made sometimes, don't they? They're kind of an accumulation of things. They all come together.
So that's one a Sunday morning in Dublin 8.
Yeah, well, I heard you creep out the door very early hours, and I was wondering what was going on, but now I know. Thanks for that poem, Peter. So, okay, I'm thinking that the weather has been so good that I'd love to have left the city and gone out to the sea and dived into the water. I still got that dodgy shoulder though, Peter, so I can't do that. So then I thought I'd read a poem about snorkeling, and actually it's snorkeling in the sea, not in Ireland, but it was when we were in Greece at one stage. And it's actually dedicated to you, Peter, as well.
Who's the snorkeler?
Well, we're both snorkeling in the boat. Hi.
I have to figure out now where my snorkel went.
We'll have to go and look for our flippers, because poets actually do snorkel and they do wear flippers as well. So
I used to have flippers. I remember that.
yeah, and it was very comical to see you in them. So this is called Snorkeling with You for Peter. And so beneath your things I go, rummaging to find a pencil, while you are still way out, a soft seal head, curious black on the blue sea, to say what it was I saw, how your legs moved as though on the moon, so slowly over undersea ridges that little fish came from beyond to tickle your ankles. Then all the day burst its shafts of light in thin yellow slants through the tip of the whirling blue as I left you behind and approached the arc between sea and sky. And light looked suddenly cut like hexagonal jigsaw pieces, and the top of the ocean, holding up bubbles and foam, was a hammock weighed down with heavy things tied to the sky's strong branches. All of this was there, reminding me that I was human and would rise again to see the beach's rock glistening, and on it the small gold and turquoise bird I last saw before going below, still there, shaking his long beak wisely, as if to say to me, "Go under again, go under again. Now you have found it, go under. For there is the magic you need."
I like that.
Do you, Peter?
I do. Well, not least because I'm in it as well.
Right. Well, you are actually in it, yeah. That's taken from more shameless self-promotion. It's from my new selected poems, Borrowed Space. And it's actually, I do like the cover on this as well. I have to mention Mark Ranier, who took a brilliant photo of his 2 cats in his hallway. So thanks, Mark, for that. He's also a very fine poet. So, yeah, snorkeling and bells. They're our summer contribution. And we've also been to Tobago with Derek Walcott, and we've been waking up in the morning with Raymond Carver.
Great. But now I think it's time to go and meet James Harpur.
Great. Looking forward to that. With Peter, and we are waiting at the front gates of Trinity College. We're at the front arch, and it's a very busy, lively place. You can see all the people coming and going. Hear the buses in the background. Oliver Goldsmith behind me, high up on his pedestal with his open book, and the wild meadow underneath. And we are waiting here for the poet James Harpur, who is this year's 2023 Writer Fellow of Trinity College. We're really looking forward to getting a little tour of Trinity with him, maybe see his rooms, find out what's his favourite place, and hopefully, if we're lucky, hear some of his new poems inspired by his residency here.
Okay,
and here he is.
Here he is, yeah.
Very nice to meet you. Who's your furry friend?
Oh, very funny. Well, listen, we are going to take a little tour.
Dead cat, yeah.
Dead cat. We're going to take a little tour with you through Trinity now. We're heading towards the Campanile. And if you could tell us a little bit about where we're headed to.
Well, we're going to New Square, where I have my room. And you'll see it much changed from your day, Peter, because they have a temporary exhibition space for the Book of Kells, which they're building, because they're renovating the long room. So there's a lot of building going on, men with hard hats and high vis.
Yeah, and you yourself have your poet's hat on today, James. You're looking very fetching.
Well, thank you very much indeed.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, James, you must have really
Monument.
enjoyed being here, did you? Like spending time here every day, especially on a sunny day like this.
Yes.
It's like heaven, isn't it?
It's been fantastic. And Trinity has been in my family for so long. My sister was here in the 1960s and gained notoriety when she went to the Elizabethan garden party with a stuffed hen on her head as a hat. She had trouble getting it through the customs at Dublin, who claimed it was livestock.
Sorry, a live hen or a dead hen?
A dead hen.
Okay.
And they claimed it was livestock. And she said, no, it's a hat. So they let her through.
That was your sister Marilee
My
who
sister
set up.
Marilee.
Marilee?
Yeah, she set up the Strokes Down Poetry Festival,
That's
didn't
right.
she, James? Yeah.
And my father was here in the 1936 and was sent down for having a woman in his room.
Oh my
Oh my
God.
gosh.
He claimed it was his cousin and perfectly innocent, but they didn't believe him. And my uncle was here in about 1932 and he set off a flock of doves during a theology lecture.
Oh, that's fantastic. There's poems in that, James.
Well, there might be, but it's just great being the white sheep of the family and trying to redeem the family name.
So we're heading now towards New Square, which this is a path well worn for you, James, isn't
You can
it?
see my footsteps.
There'll be a plaque
Grooved.
up, won't there, soon?
There will be.
Now we're heading into a lot of people in high-vis jackets here and
Yes.
cranes, not a
right.
bird, but crane, the big crane building. Has this interfered with your writing, James, and your thinking?
Yes, of course it has, yes. The constant drilling sounds and the beeping of reversing cherry pickers
Yes.
has provided the wrong sort of rhythm to my poems, so I've had to screen it out. However, at dusk, all the noise subsides and it's beautifully quiet here, and you can see all the wonderful trees.
Oh, they're
in
beautiful
blossom.
cherry blossoms, aren't they?
Cherry blossoms, and we have a wonderful copper beech tree over in front of my window. So it's a wonderful square.
So now, James, we are actually sitting in your rooms in New Square in Trinity College. And I'm thinking of the fact that you normally live in West Cork. So it must be quite a contrast from your normal home. So what's it like to be here in these rooms? What's it like to be based in Trinity?
Well, it's wonderful to be here. Yes, I'm seeing more people in one day than a whole year in West Cork. It's been a fantastic experience. I've been teaching undergraduates and MAs creative writing and getting to know lots of professors and members of staff. And it's been a very harmonious and fruitful experience.
Indeed, that's what I was going to ask you, I suppose, really, because you're the writer fellow in TCD, and I suppose it might be interesting for people to know a little bit about that. What exactly does a writer fellow do? What are the kind of duties and responsibilities, feel like?
Well, it's basically the writer fellow has to teach the MPhils in creative writing, and I had a group of 15 people, 11 Americans, 4 Irish, 2 mature students, and so I had to do 11 consecutive workshops. They knew I was a poet, but most of the writers were fiction writers, so I had to adapt my workshops to cater for them. Then I had to also do a voluntary undergraduate workshop. So I had 10 Trinity poets who were all very able and amiable, and that was a lovely group to work with. And there were various other duties, like I gave a talk on writing about the Book of Kells for the Loyola Institute based here. And I had to do some outreach as well. I went to St. Columba's College in the south of the city. I did a session on poems about my boarding school with a wonderful class of sixth formers, and so on. There are various other things
you
too.
You gave a talk recently and a reading, and you were introduced by Deirdre Madden, and she was talking afterwards to you about one of the great attractions for you for coming to Trinity was the Book of Kells, as you've mentioned. I wonder, can you say what is so interesting for you about the Book of Kells?
I think the Book of Kells is interesting on many levels. For me, it stands like a sort of a sacred literary object in an age of single-use texts, of emails and, Instagram and social media. The Book of Kells is like the equivalent of slow food, really. I've also described it as being like reverse kryptonite, that it sort of sends out a benevolent ray of benevolence from the heart of Trinity, from the heart of Dublin, indeed the heart of Ireland. And it's a wonder of art. People go to see the illuminations, but it's also a wonderful calligraphic text. And I always think of Cassiodorus, the early Christian churchman, who used to tell his scribes that every word they wrote inflicted a wound on Satan. And even if you don't share that theology, that idea of passion, of putting everything into every word, is something that I think all poets should heed. In fact, everyone should heed. And it's diametrically opposed to the idea of writing quick texts carelessly and quickly without any thought to it. So the Book of Kells is the diametric opposite of that.
Yeah, I love that idea of passion. And I was just wondering, because we are actually sitting here in this space. It's hard to actually get, I suppose, passionate in a student room or a student base like this. But you're looking out there, out the window. I know at the beginning you told us that it was covered, the window was covered due to building work. But now you can see out, and looking out the window, has it inspired you, James, to be here? Have you been composing or writing new stuff with the passion that you just spoke of there?
Well, I have really been actually sort of working on a memoir of my own university days, which was in the late 1970s at Trinity, Cambridge, and looking out of the window and seeing all the students milling around with all their futures in front of them and with all the pressures of exams and of socializing has brought me back to my own experience. So it's helped me hugely to write this verse memoir. So yes, it has been very inspirational for that.
That's so great. And we were very lucky to get a preview of one of those new poems called Tryst. And I was wondering, would you like to read that for us now, James?
Yes, I'd be delighted to do that. So this is called Tryst. It's a sonnet. It's a romantic sonnet. And I suppose it came about when I was having an assignation with a girl, and she wasn't someone I knew very well. And I chose the venue, which was the most romantic spot I could think of, which was the bridge outside my college, Trinity, which is a wonderful 18th century pedestrian bridge over the River Cam, which is a very slow-moving canal-like river. And we were due to meet at 8 o'clock on an autumnal day. And this is what happened. I suppose the poem is about the power of emotion to create an alternative reality. Tryst. The clocks are striking 8 around the town. I stare along the bridge to New Court Arch, willing a silhouette to get here soon. I mutter my lines like Jaques' lover, sighing like furnace with a woeful ballad made to his mistress's eyebrows. A shiver creeps in my scarf and down my jumper each minute till 8:30, 45, and 9. But I have visualized our brief encounter so intensely that when I cross the bridge to go back to my digs, resigned, I pass our doppelgangers as they watch the river and quiver at my fleeting ghost, to whom they owe their moment of existence.
Thank you so much, James. I love that idea of the double gangers. There's kind of a wistful ghostliness to that poem. It sent a bit of a shiver down my spine. And wonderful to hear you reading it here as well. As I said, we are very lucky to be here in Trinity College with this year's 2023 Writer Fellow, James Harpur. And just listening to you there, James, it's great to hear that new, fresh work is coming out. But I know as well that you've been working on a project about gargoyle poems, which I think, am I right in saying they started off in another residency, which was in Paris, wasn't it?
That's right. I was in Paris in 2018 at the Irish College, and it was a wonderful experience. I was there for a month, and they have bursaries, about 5 a year. And I was there with, I think, 4 or 5 others, mostly painters. They have studios there. And it was a wonderful moment for me because my mother was brought up in Paris and she often talked about her childhood there, and I was able to visit her old family home in Le Vésinet. and explore the Paris of her childhood. So it was a very soulful and healing sojourn there. So yeah, it was wonderful.
And do you think, just talking about residencies, do you think that they are useful for writers?
Yes, well, I think certainly for me, I think they take you out of your routine, your environment, your various mental ruts, and they throw you into a new situation of having to meet new people. And for me, I have to practice my social skills.
Do you find that difficult to do, James?
Well, it comes and goes, but at Commons, the formal hall, I've been, sitting next to high-powered mathematicians and physicists and having to make conversation with them about subjects I know nothing about. And that's been a wonderful challenge and joy.
I think it was Margaret Atwood who said that poetry and mathematics are very similar. So perhaps you got on better than you thought, James.
Possibly.
Let's hope they're learning stuff as well. Let's hope they're learning about poetry as well.
Exactly, yeah. Well, James, it was nice earlier there to hear you talking about your time in Cambridge as an undergraduate. But a book that I loved by you is called The Examined Life, which was a series of poems about your time as a teenager in secondary school in England. And for me, a central character in that book was your best friend, Jonesy. And it would be so nice to hear you read one of my favourite poems, actually, because it reminds me of that kind of, joyful skiving off that we all want to do when we're in school. And do we actually get to do it? There's a bit of a surprise element in this poem as well, isn't there, James?
That's right, yes. This is called Senior Dormitory, and Monday mornings at school were always the worst for me because I had a double Latin period with a master called Neggers. And my best friend, Rob Jones, or Jonesy, used to come and torment me about this double period. So this is a sort of a typical example of what used to happen. So you have to imagine yourself in a really chilly dormitory at a boarding school on a Monday morning. Senior dormitory, Monday morning. It's icy. I'm snug in bed, aware that Jones is crouching down and whispering in my ear, suspiciously benign. You awake, James? You'll never guess. I've got you out of Latin. I've settled it with niggers. You're in the clear. He knows how much I'm dying to believe him. I dread that class, and now he's seized his chance. Relax. I'll run your bath and get hot towels. I close my eyes. I'm gone, and he's relentless. But first I'll bring the croissants, café au lait, and then perhaps a fat hand-rolled gauloise. I dream of sky-blue France or Saint-Tropez and float in heaven till I hear the bell and Jonesy's chuckle fading into hell.
I'm just wondering, is there a particular space in this campus in Trinity, James, that appeals to you, that you like?
Yes. Next door there's a wonderful cherry garden. When I say cherry, I mean a garden with cherry trees in bloom and benches. It's a small little nook where students go to revise or just get away from the hurly-burly of college life. It sort of has a sort of Japanese Zen Buddhist feel to it. And I love sitting there on the bench and just listening to the seagulls screeching and the beeping noise of reversing cherry pickers.
And also the building work as well, James.
The building work that's going on at the moment.
Do you know what I would love? I don't know what you two think, but would it be very nice to go out now and maybe we could hear, I loved hearing those two poems, and maybe we could go out and we could have another poem under those cherry blossom trees.
That's a great idea, Enda.
Okay, let's go for it then.
Let's do that.
So here we are now, sunny day, out with James Harpur in his favourite part of Trinity College. It's a lovely kind of space with benches and trees. James, why do you love it so much?
Well, it's very peaceful, quiet, the beautiful trees. You can watch the world go past. You're next to the rugby pitch, so you can watch a bit of rugby if you're in the mood, or indeed cricket. opposite by the PAV, which is where all the students hang out.
Yeah, I'd love
and
to hang
have a
out there
great
myself,
time.
James. It
Yes.
reminds me, actually, being here reminds me of the Trinity Ball and the great crack that would be had. I'm sure you heard a lot of noise, did you, in the recent Trinity Ball, James?
I did. I was warned by various colleagues to get out at whatever cost, but I butched it out. I had earplugs and I played music. Even so, the bass sound thumped around the facades of the buildings and sent me cowering for about 5 hours. But it was great to see the young ones enjoy themselves. But things have changed since my day when I was at college in the late 70s at Trinity, Cambridge, where the Mayballs were much more sedate.
Oh, I see. And listen, seeing as you are writer fellow here, I'm sure you have a poem about that time in Trinity and Cambridge. Have you, James?
Well, I managed to write a poem about my own Mayball experience at Cambridge, slightly prompted by the Trinity one, but I'll read this poem. But the background was that I was put on security for the Mayball. And the idea was that you'd have an hour on and an hour off, and eventually you'd get a free ticket to go to the ball. But they gave me a whole box of passes, i.e. like free tickets. And I had 3 very good friends who couldn't afford to go to the ball. It was frightfully expensive. So I did a Robin Hood. I took 3 of the tickets and I cycled off to Magdalen College and Girton College to surprise my friends who were settling in for a night of studying or watching TV. And so it was like Cinderella going to the ball. So this poem describes that experience and what happened afterwards. It's called Transformation Scene. An hour before it starts, I'm given a box of passes, a box of gold dust. Incredible. I'd like to scatter them in Market Square and watch them do what breadcrumbs do to pigeons. Instead, I scurry off, jump on my saddle, like Robin Hood dropping on his horse from an overhanging branch, and skedaddle my tailcoat flapping like 2 ailerons to Thompson's Lane and Ollie's Eyrie. I scale the staircase, hammer on his door. Its bird's nest and specky eyes appear. What you doing tonight? I giggle slur. His eyebrows twitch. I'll bloody tell you what. You're only going to the Trinity Ball. Then flying off like Hermes, I cross the Cam and get to Wolfson Court, red-faced and panting. I burst into the common room. Sarah's watching Top of the Pops with Marion. They gawp as if I am a celebrity who's broken out of the TV screen. The ball, you're going to it. Trinity. My steward's contract is an hour on, an hour off. Enough to roam and hear Elvis Costello and the attractions croon. I don't want to go to Chelsea. While in the disco tent a voice is shrieking, "You're staying alive, staying alive. Feel the city breaking and everybody shaking. You're staying alive, staying alive." And look, there's Ollie doing clownish dances, stooping like Groucho Marx. And Marion and Sarah floating, happy and glorious, as if they've been transformed to photons. As if pure joy can never come to pass unless an ambush makes you you-less. And suddenly your music, dancer, dance, and all the laws of nature cease. Newton's apple hanging in the air. The setting sun become the rising sun, a gold balloon floating from the river, a mist of atomized champagne.
Oh, thank you, James. That was wonderful. I think we've reached the end of our conversation. We might head off to the Commons for a cup of tea now. What do you think, Peter?
No, a cup of tea sounds great. It's such a sunny day here. It's amazing. We could stand out here for a long time or sit down and enjoy all the activities. Yeah, but a cup of coffee sounds good too.
Yeah, and James Harpur, thank you so much.
It's
for joining us
my
today.
pleasure. Always great to see you both on this wonderful podcast, Books for Breakfast, the best podcast in the world.
Well, thank you very much.
Not
and
at
next
all.
time, we imagine having Elvis Costello on. I love that part in your book. Thank you so much, James.
You're very
Thank
welcome.
you.
Lovely to see you. Bye now.
I think we've reached the end of our Books for Breakfast podcast this morning. I'm definitely rushing off to have more coffee. And I'm Enda Wiley, and I have Peter Sirr here with me. And Peter, would you like to tell everyone about the details of the podcast if they'd like to listen again?
Well, you can subscribe at all the usual sources, Google and Apple and so on. And if you want to check out the notes that go along with this podcast, you can go to booksforbreakfast.buzzsprout.com. And yeah, so
we'll be back again. We'll have the toast on, we'll have the kettle boiling, we will have more books to discuss, and we're looking forward to having you here. So goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye.